Hi, this is Summer, and welcome to Being on Purpose. Today, I want to talk about a very powerful way that you can take back your own power and develop your own willpower of basically how to be self-directed. And you can build up the own wheelhouse of how to build up that power in yourself. Okay, so what I want to get into is being self-directed, being your own authority, and sort of what that looks like and what that means. And this is all through my perspective and my worldview and everything that I've learned and experienced. This is the most useful stuff, some of the most useful stuff that I know. So, the first thing is that I want to talk about basically how to be your own authority and how to be self directed. And so, first, what do I mean by that? I mean, um, knowing yourself, being who you really are, as much as possible, bringing that out. I think that's a big reason of the human life and why we're here, and it's so important to it is to be who you are. Because there's that old phrase, no one else can be who you are. You're the only you that's here. So it's up to you to be yourself. And so some ways that we like manifest or like bring about and express who we are is by what we want and what we believe. And the important thing there is what we believe after we wipe the slate clean of what everyone else has said, after we wipe the slate clean of all the conditioning of what we've been told of how we should be living life, all of the shoulds, that we get bombarded in life from with all these messages from other people. So, what do you really believe and what meanings do you make out of your experiences after you wipe the slate clean of what everyone else is trying to influence you and tell you what to do and what to believe and what to want? So, wipe that slate clean as much as possible from what everyone else has said, how you should be, and that's where you start to discover who you are and how you want to express yourself. So, a big now where you can get your power and start to find out if you're sort of giving your own personal power away, and sort of blindly following other people, or if you're really harnessing it for yourself. A big way to keep track of that is to pay attention to meanings. So, meanings in the world, we have experiences, right? We see things around us. We have our five senses, so we see, hear, taste, smell, etc. Like all of our senses. That's how we process the external environment and what's going on and events around us. And all the meaning, though, is made in our mind. So that's really important. And I want to give an example. So say that two different people see a man go into a pharmacy and rob the pharmacy and run out with a big, bag of pills. And so these two different people, they've seen the exact same thing, but they assign different meanings to it. So for example, person one sees it and they say, "What a coward. This person is trying to, I don't know," and then they make up some story, trying to get the drugs and then is going to sell the drugs to make money, to support himself in some, maybe some habits or something that they have that isn't healthy. So that person thinks of this person running in and robbing the pharmacy as a coward. And that's how they label him, and that's the meaning that they make of him. And then person number two sees the exact same event, same person running into the store and running out, stealing the pharmacy's pills. And then they say, "Wow, what a hero." Because the meaning and the story that they've created in their mind is that this is a person who has a sick wife at home and has been married to her for 45 years and is so dedicated to her, and she is sick. And unless he can get this medicine to her ASAP, right away, then she is going to die and die a painful death. And so instead of seeing her do that, he is such a hero to go in and he's stealing this pills in order to keep his wife alive. And so those are two different meanings. And there are as many people in the world, there could be that many, number of meanings that people could make of the same event. Which one is right, which one is wrong? There is no right and wrong, right? It's just every meaning is made from our perception, from our perspective. And each of us has a different perspective. So, let's see, another example of meanings, and this is on a less dramatic scale, I guess, is like, say you're going down the highway and there's someone in front of you that's driving too slow. And one person can drive, they can get stuck behind this person, and then maybe if they're on a highway where there's lanes and they can pass the person and go around them, maybe they get angry and they honk the horn and they have this strong, angry, emotional reaction because the meaning that they're making out of it is that this is some lazy person or someone who is texting on their phone, or just basically not being an attentive driver or a good enough driver, because in their mind they have a list of shoulds of how the other person should be driving. And so they get angry and they honk the horn and they speed angrily around the car and go around it. And so that's one person. And then let's go to person number 2. In the exact same situation, there's a slow car on the highway. And that's kind of the fact or the data of the situation. There's a slow car driving on the highway. And this person comes up and they don't want to go that slow. So they go around, but they're very courteous to the driver and they don't feel angry at all. Actually, they feel strong compassion for the person, because the meaning maybe that they've made is that this is someone who is in deep grief over having lost someone that's so close to them from so many years, maybe a family member. And so this person has just been struggling with pain from the loss of this person that was so close to them, that they're driving slow, and that, they, for whatever reasons they're driving slow, and they either can't or don't want to pick up the pace because they're so in pain from the grief. So these are 2 different meanings, and you can see that they lead to 2 very different emotional reactions and 2 different reactions to that other driver. And so again, which meaning is correct? There's not really right and wrong meanings. Like, all meanings are things that they're formed in our mind, so meaning doesn't really exist in the event itself. It exists in us based on our perspective. And it comes from our conditioning. It comes from so many different things about us that makes us a unique individual, and how we choose to make meaning. And that's something that's powerful, that a lot of times there's not a lot of people that teach it, but how powerful it is to begin consciously choosing the meanings you make of things. So that's a really big wheelhouse of power that you can begin to develop if you haven't already, and begin to notice how it changes your life. So let's see. The other thing I wanted to talk about also is controlling behavior of authority figures. And so this is something to watch out for. So especially in like therapy type sessions or life coaching sessions, or if you're working with someone on a mental or emotional basis and they're trying to help you, this is really important to keep in mind, is to watch out for controlling behavior, which is they have a particular set of meanings, set of beliefs, or even a set of wants. Like, they want to control what you want, or they want to control what you believe, or they want to control how you choose to make meaning. If they want to control that process, or they might want to control your healing process, and they want to say when you're healed and when you're not healed, when that's up to you to decide. Or they might want to control labeling something as a problem for you. It can happen where people will say, well, this is a problem for you, when maybe for you, you don't experience it as a problem. You still experience the same condition. Like, you and that person are still looking at the same condition in your life, but for you, it's not a problem. You're very okay with whatever that state of being is, or whatever that situation or condition is. But they want to label it as a problem and something that you need to work on. And the reason that's something to be aware of is that it can sometimes happen that practitioners can invent new problems for you to take on so that you can continue to come back to them and pay them money to get those problems fixed. When for you, maybe it was not a problem for you. And you were just fine in handling life on your own in that area of your life. So just being aware of people wanting to control these different things. And sometimes look it can look like it's not control. For example, if they ask a question and they're like, well, do you want this thing? And there's kind of two different ways to ask the question. There's legitimate questions and illegitimate questions. And the way that I break those down is a legitimate question is they don't know the answer, or there's not a right answer for you to give them, So a legitimate question is, well, do you want this thing? And you could say yes or no, or you could say, I don't know yet. But they will accept that as your answer and they will be okay with it. Versus an illegitimate question is they're asking a question, but there's a right answer and you need to answer what their answer is, So if someone is saying, well, do you want this? And it's an illegitimate question, then usually in that type of relationship, that person, there's going to be consequences if you don't choose that right answer, quote. I'm using air quotes here, you can't see it, but if you don't choose the right answer that they want you to say, then there's going to be some type of consequences, whether it's just that they're going to interrupt you more, or they're going to be rude to you in some way, or they're going to belittle you. It could be so many different things, right? But basically, if there's consequences to you, or like a punishment type of thing, if you choose their, quote, wrong answer, then that's an illegitimate question. They have a prescribed answer that you need to have, and so those are things to look out for. Are they asking a lot of illegitimate questions or legitimate questions? So are they asking you what you want, or are they asking what you believe? But really there's a prescribed thing that they're making it clear that you need to take on and believe, and you need to want this, and you need to believe that, and you need to think this, or else you're wrong. So that's something to be aware of. Because my opinion, my view is that when working with a life coach, a therapist, someone in that nature, that they are there to give you new possibilities and new opportunities and new perspectives and new ways to see things. But it's like trying on a glove. Like you can try on the glove and see it and say, okay, let me step into this belief for a while and let me see how it feels, let me see how it looks, let me see how it operates. And if you want that belief and you want to accept it and use it in your life and make use of it, then you can do that and you can adopt it. And then if you try on the belief, and so if we're going with the metaphor of the glove, you try on the glove and you say, okay, I'm trying on this belief, but you know what, it's not working for me for whatever reason. And you say, I'm going to take off this glove. And then if that therapist or life coach or whoever gets angry with you or short with you or rude with you or have some type of punishment in response to you taking off that glove, that's not healthy to me. They are there to give you new opportunities, new possibilities, help you see from new perspectives, and then it's up to you to choose what you want and to be self-directed. And you should be self-directed in your healing, self-directed in, again, what you want, what you believe, what you think, all of these things. It's up to you. It's your life. And I want to end on a quote that is really powerful. So this is from Natalie Sudman, and you can look her up on YouTube. She's been interviewed quite a lot. She had a near-death experience, and she has a lot of wisdom to share. Okay, so from Natalie Sudman, the quote is, remember, this is your life. It's your path. It's your path. And your path is valuable for you. So their path is not valuable for you. So again, going back to our lives are meant for us to live and for us to experience and for us to be ourselves, to be who you really are. And that's what a big part of life is, and a big part of the satisfaction of life. And so just to remember that everyone's path is valuable, and equally everyone's path is valuable for them. So if someone is trying to push their path onto you in the forms of beliefs and values and wants and thoughts and all of these things, and then that's someone who doesn't recognize this wisdom, in my opinion. So I hope this is useful for you, and I hope that you enjoy it. And leave your comments down below. What do you think? What are your experiences? What are your thoughts? Leave questions. And subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos like this, where we explore what a healthy relationship is with authority figures and how to be your own authority and how to be self-directed in your own life. So until the next video, I'm Summer, and I'll see you later.